look up. No more running from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 31. 31 days of My Story, My Strength Challenge. I'm so sorry that it's late today, but things have been just trying to attack me, and what I do when it attacks me is say, I'm not giving up. So this is going to be a late one, but I'm here, so thank you so much for your patience. I know some of you probably have been waiting all day to get these juicy little deets about survival, and I just want to, again, apologize for the tardiness, but this is day 31, and this is the last time I'm going to give this introduction because it's the first month, month of my challenge. I created this platform, or I created this challenge as a way to show myself what I've gone through and what I have survived. But it turned into something beautiful. It turned into an opportunity to present itself to a community who needs to know what healing is. It needs to teach and help grow a community that feels alone, isolated, left out, and to understand that healing is not ever easy in any way, any sense, any shape, any form, any fashion. It is messy, it is cruel, it can be vindictive, but it's possible. And it is worth it. Everybody has their stories of bumping up and down. So if we can go through what we go through for the trauma, maybe the trauma is setting us up to be prepared for this healing. So before we move any forward, I want to give a trigger warning that this next story is going to be discussing a lot of, discussing family betrayal, grooming, sexual assault of a minor, and drug and alcohol use. Drug use involving a minor. So if you at any point, anytime during this feel like you cannot hear anymore, it is too much for you to just fathom. If it is a lot, you can always step away, take a break, come back, or step away and don't come back if that's okay, because your mental health, your physical health, your emotional and spiritual well-being is what is more important. Okay, so let me jump right into this story. Today, I'm going to be talking about a time that was like right after the time in one of my other episodes, I spoke about when I got into a fight with my uncle and he sent me to live with an aunt who then sent me back home with my mom. Well, this is something that happened during the short amount of time that I was staying with her. I had a cousin he was living with my uncle too at the time. He was maybe a year younger than my uncle, maybe 2. He was an adult. And he would come and check on me in my aunt's house because I was out there all alone. Her kids went to school. Her and her boyfriend, they would go to work in the daytime. No one really got me enrolled in school, so I was still out there just by myself. So he would come and check on me. One time he brought someone, he said that it was a cousin on his father's side. And I don't know his dad's side of the family. So I kind of just was like, okay, that's fine, whatever. Then he came over, we hung out, we were smoking weed, they were drinking. And we were just sitting in the back on the back porch, just, enjoying ourselves, laughing. The guy, he came off kind of shy. So, and he kind of, he was really quiet. So he didn't really bring up any red flags with me. I'm like, okay, this guy is okay. He's fine, whatever. He's not going to cause me any kind of harm. But I still kept my distance. I stayed on the other side of my cousin. I made sure that, any interaction with him was what I felt was appropriate. I didn't, make any sexual advances. I, responded to questions, laughed, and we had a good time. So my cousin, when he came over another time, it wasn't like right after that, maybe a couple of times after that, when he said he was bringing the guy back over, I'm like, hey, that's fine, because I thought this guy was a decent guy. He was an adult, because again, my cousin, he was older than me. I believe he's like 4 or 5 years older than I am. No, he's 5 years older than I am. So, this cousin was maybe a year or so older than him. So it was just like, okay, whatever. I'm 15. So my cousin was approximately 20. So this guy was maybe 21, 22. So I'm like, okay, I'm hoping, because I've been assaulted a couple of times at this point. So I'm hoping that this was not another guy who wanted to look at me in a way that he should not have. So he came over with my cousin, and the same thing happened. We sat in the back porch. We were having fun, talking, laughing. But I'm gonna say about 15, 20 minutes in, my cousin pulls him to the side and say, "Hey, I'm gonna step out for a little bit. But I'm just letting you know, my cousin, he liked you. He think you're cute." And I'm just like, "What? Why? Why are you doing that?" Because I know that it is not okay for an adult to be, dating a younger girl or boy or whatever. You having sex with a minor is never right. Never right. Being attracted to a minor, like, no, that's not something. I was a child, so I sat there and just kind of broke down us internally, like, again, so he left. I'm like begging him, please don't go. Like, I don't want this. I'm not trying to have a boyfriend. I was dating a guy at that point, but he was like a year older than me. He was my boyfriend for, I think, my seventh going to the eighth grade summer. We started dating, and we only broke up because he moved out of town our 10th grade year. So I'm just like, please don't leave me with this man. And at that time, that was the only guy I dated who didn't. I never had sex with him. It was an appropriate relationship, so I knew at that time that I probably should have been dating somebody my own age, because adults, they want things from a young girl that you can't really. I at least didn't want to give, so I just asked him not to leave, but he left. And his cousin was sitting there. We were sitting outside on the back porch, and so I just kind of stayed on one side, and he was not really talking a lot to me. I hope you guys are enjoying the music. We're gonna have a little mini concert right now. Um, I wasn't really trying to talk to him, and he noticed that I was uncomfortable, so he kind of just started talking about anything, the sky, the clouds, the moon, the weather, whatever. And finally, he was just like, I think you are really beautiful. And I said, okay, I got to use the bathroom. And I go in the house to use the bathroom. But while I'm in the bathroom, I'm just having a straight up panic attack. Like, oh my God, I'm so sick of this shit. I'm so tired of grown men looking at me in a way that they shouldn't. Really, really tired, because I don't, at this point, I have been sexually assaulted. So I'm not really trying to be in anything romantic with anyone. I just want to go to school. Just let me go to school, please. But no. So I come out the bathroom, and he's sitting on the couch in the living room. So I sit on the couch across from him. He comes and he sits next to me, and he's just talking to me, telling me, that he's not really trying to violate me. He wants to respect me, and I would never even have sex with you because I do know that the age difference, and I just think you're really beautiful. Okay, thank you. You could have told me that on the over there. So he starts to like kind of caress my face, and I'm like, is he trying to be romantic? Like, that's not what this is. So I pull my face back and I kind of move his hand, and he starts to just start kissing on me, kissing me, and I'm just like, oh, here we go. So I'm trying to push him off, like, no, no, this is not what that's not what this is. That's not what this is. But he lays me on the couch and he just starts to kiss me, and he's just rubbing on me. Like, no clothes are being removed. He's not trying to take off any of my clothes. It's just like he's trying to make out with me, kissing on my neck, rubbing on me. It's like he's trying to be intimate with me, like we're an actual couple. And I'm still trying to turn my head. I'm doing everything to show him that I wasn't really trying to do that. So I don't know how long this went on. It went on for a little while. And he realized that I wasn't going to start consenting to what was happening. So he sat up and he just kind of looked at me and he apologized. He was like, I'm sorry, I don't know why. I just couldn't control myself. And he leaves. And I don't see him anymore. I have not seen him to this day. Um, and my cousin also never came back over there after that. I don't know if he told him what happened. I don't know, but I didn't see my cousin until years after that. And when I did see him, I asked him, like, why would you do that? Why would you leave me there with him? And he was just like, he liked you. He's not a bad guy. Okay, but I was a child. This was a grown man. Like, this was not okay. But other than that, I didn't tell anybody. I didn't talk about it with anybody. I just left it there. This is my first time actually saying anything about it since that has happened, other than to my cousin when I asked him that one time, and he tried to, hey, it's not that big of a deal. So the wounds I felt, identifying my wounds, is I felt betrayed. I felt like I was set up. I felt like my cousin set me up to be whatever. I don't know if he was paid. I don't know what the situation was, but I know that he just left me there with this adult man, and I was a child. Now, was I a child? That's kind of gets me back to people thinking that young black girls are older than what they really are. I was not a virgin, no, but most of my sexual encounters were assaults and attacks. Um, so it was just like, oh my goodness, I felt betrayed. I was mad. I was pissed off. I felt like and I was tired. I was tired of people looking at me in a way that they should not have respect. These men are just, I really never understood what it was about me that would make me so attractive to people who shouldn't be looking at me that way. Um, so a negative mind frame I had for that, a negative thought that I had was that I was just always going to be someone that people felt like it was okay to attack. No one was going to protect me. My family weren't going to protect me, and whatever anybody wanted to do to me, they could just do. But I had to reframe that, and my reframing thought was that the actions of someone else it has nothing to do with me. I didn't cause that. I didn't deserve that. And if anyone felt that it was okay for them to do that to a child, then that was something that was wrong with them. My family that allowed that to happen to me, that does not define my worth. That just defines their lack of respect for me as a person. And that, again, has nothing to do with me. And an affirmation that I have for that is something that I had to make myself, because it wasn't, I tried looking up affirmations to make me feel better about that, but it was something that I had to teach myself. And it is that my body deserves protecting. And if I have to release someone with love in order to keep myself safe, then that's what I'm going to do. There's nothing wrong with me separating myself when it comes to my safety and my protection. There's nothing wrong with separating myself when it comes to my safety and my protection. Okay, so let's go next to our coping skill. So this coping skill is emotional grounding with movement. Okay, so instead of traditional breathing exercises, today we're going to use a tool that involves movement to help reconnect you with your body and your emotions. So first, find a safe and private space. Then you start slowly by stretching your arms over your head, feeling the length of your body, and gently roll your shoulders back and forth to release the tensions. And next, you walk in a circle, or you can walk back and forth while naming three things you see, three things you hear, three things you notice in your body. So I see, a necklace, a Bible, and a charger cord. Obviously, I hear the cars. I hear my husband cutting up food in the kitchen, and I hear the fan. And things I notice in my body, I notice that my knee isn't hurting as badly anymore. I noticed that when I did that with my shoulder, that it relaxed my neck muscles, and I noticed that my heartbeat is slowing down. Because at first my heartbeat was racing because, again, noise outside, it kind of elevates my blood pressure. It's like, shh, don't make these noises during my life. But hey, that's what it is. But finish by placing your hands over your heart and taking a moment to feel your heart breathe naturally. This physical grounding helps to disrupt overwhelming emotions and remind your brain that you're safe here. You're safe here, and you're safe right now. Okay? So I want to give you, now it's time for the empowerment challenge. Yay, empowerment challenge. I want you to write down one boundary that you've never set but deeply need to, something that you need to make a person really respect about you. And like I said, when I say boundaries, it's not things like, if you don't let me slap you in the face or be my punching bag, you can't be my friend. No, it's things like, you're going to respect my body. You're going to respect my wishes. If I say no, that it's no, like something that you deeply need to set. Then take one concrete step today to honor that boundary, whether it's saying no, leaving a conversation, removing yourself from a harmful environment, or releasing someone with love. This is about reclaiming your agency, one action at a time. Your life, your body, your mind, everything about you, okay? Now we are on our survivor spotlight. And today we're going to acknowledge Joyce Dixon Haskett. Miss Joyce's life began in chaos. Born into a world that dismissed black girls' pain, she faced the kind of trauma that swallows lives whole. As a child, she endured repeated sexual abuse, compounded by neglect and systematic failure. She was not protected. She was not protected. She was not heard. Her earliest experiences were shaped by the reality that black girls are expected to be strong, silent, and resilient no matter what's being done to them. So by the time Joyce was a teenager, the trauma had compounded into something unbearable. Vulnerable and seeking safety, she fell into the grip of a man who trafficked her, a predator who disguised himself as a protector. What followed were years of coercion, emotional control, and unspeakable violence. She was forced into sex work. She was criminalized instead of helped. She was thrown into prison with no one asking what led her there. Incarcerated for defending herself against a violent trafficker, Joyce found herself at a crossroad, buried, buried by the system or reborn by her own will. She chose rebirth. While incarcerated, Joyce began to study. Educated herself, she earned a degree, and laid the foundation for a life she had been given permission to imagine. She had never been given permission to imagine, I'm sorry. She refused to let her past dictate her future. She refused to let the system that caged her steal her mind. Upon release, she pursued a master's degree in social work and became a licensed clinical therapist dedicated to working with women who had experienced trauma, abuse, and incarceration. Joyce built a career by helping other survivors reclaim their lives, especially those criminalized by the violence done to them. Her work doesn't end at therapy. She has spoken out on national platforms, lobbied for trauma informed policies, and created a reentry program for formerly incarcerated women. Joyce isn't just surviving, she's rebuilding the very same systems that failed her. Joyce is not just a survivor, she is also a liberator. She walked through hell as a child, was punished for trying to protect herself, and emerged with enough courage to light the way for thousands of others. Her life is a testimony to the fact that survival is not linear. It's never too late to rewrite the narrative forced upon you. She did not let prison define her. She did not let trauma silence her. Instead, she built a platform of healing which reaches women society had written off. Women like her, women like us. She proves that when black women survive, we don't just heal ourselves, we rebuild communities, we heal generations. So to Joyce Dixon Haskett, thank you for surviving what should have never been asked of you. Thank you for breaking generational silence, for choosing education over despair, for refusing to disappear. You turned bars into books. You turned trauma into purpose and silence into transformation. We see you, we are learning from you, and we honor you. So, if today's story moved you, please, I invite you to share it with someone who needs to hear that they are not alone. Subscribe to my strength on my YouTube channel. I'm sorry, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Empower the voices fighting strength survivors to see more from my story, my strength. You'll also be able to see more from my podcast, Insights of a Survivor, that airs every Friday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and my new show, Raw and Real, with my co-host, All Love, where we discuss topics that no one wants to just talk about. And it's every last Saturday. We're thinking about making it a weekly thing, but as of now, it's every last Saturday, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you missed the one from last Saturday, I'm going to be putting it on my YouTube as soon as I possibly can because we had technical difficulties, and it'll be on there soon. So check that out. And you can also visit my link tree where you'll find the book I wrote, Insides of a Survivor, where you can also find it on Amazon by Perry Jasper. You can follow me on all of my social medias, which is my Facebook, my TikTok, my LinkedIn, and my Instagram. And you'll be able to do more. You will be able to donate. you'll be able to become a sponsor. Whatever it is that you want to do, you can read any of my blogs, my posts, anything I'm doing so much, you can just jump on my link tree, which is in my bio, and check that out, okay? Because your story doesn't end in pain. It begins in power. And I want you to join this community of warriors that are reclaiming their power every single day. Thank you so much for tuning in today. See you tomorrow for day 32 and month two of My Story, My Strength, my 365-day challenge. So you guys have a wonderful day. And tomorrow, let's hope that things work out a little bit better and I can be more on my regularly scheduled time.
Heard you looking for a hero. Well, look up. No more running from the bad guy. I'ma stare him in the eye like, what's up? I know the journey got hard for a minute, but I ain't giving this up. Yeah, I got the heart of a champion. If I get knocked